Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of indie comic creators. But please, first, hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, go check out the show notes because all of these creators have places for you to check out their work. Some of them have campaigns, so go check them out. Go buy some books. And without further ado, let's bring on our co-host.
What is up, Streamland? I am Jay Rosario from Untitled Comics. Been publishing comic books for the last 15 years, making things like this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and a few more. Hanging out with everybody today, talking comic books, and ready to have some fun.
And filling in, and here's our Mr. Coco host, filling in for Mr. Mark Torres, who's having some technical issues that we will hopefully resolve soon. So,
hey everybody, I'm C. Michael Lanning, independent artist. I've done work around one Calico of Shard for Arrow Comics. Also a host for Dispatches from Outside the Box, where we scour the corners of geekdom to inspire you to create outside the box. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on the Indy Comics Network. And I show up every once in a while, here and there.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve Roman, the owner, publisher of Star Warp Concepts, and currently I'm the writer of The Legend of Calamity Jane, the Devil herself, which is a comic we'll be talking about much later as things go along, but that's who I am. And I'm a cowboy.
All right.
Dude,
baby.
I see a theme.
what's up,
Hi, I'm
dude?
Peter Breau from Eastern Canada. I'm an independent comic book writer. I've written for Antarctic Press, Second Sight Publishing, Caliber Comics. I have some upcoming stuff with a couple of Zoot campaigns coming up. And I've got some stuff coming up from Antarctic and Caliber that I'd, like to talk about, or sure.
All right, cool.
All right.
Hey guys, I'm Timothy Fling from York, Pennsylvania. I'm a writer and creator and a small publisher. I've also having a pretty good week. Got a couple of books coming out this week from Antarctic Press. Got a project to promote over on Kickstarter. And I'm also a musician, if you guys are so inclined to talk about that.
Hi, I'm Ozzy Longoria, owner of Gemini Comics. I've been publishing books for 23 years. I have a couple of projects, Doomsday TV and The Sword and the Sorcerer, and we're going to talk about those.
All right, cool. All right, gentlemen, let's get down to let's get down to press. I wanted to ask this question last week. Got boggled down with a whole bunch of nonsense. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I got this question, and I'm going to answer it first, just so we can get out of that. To get out of the way.
So selfish. Oh,
Wow.
No, I'm a selfish prick. I know. It's my show. So, but actually, it's just a simple question. It's what is your best-selling non-comic book item? Right, like physical comic. What is your best item? Right, and I got two things. PDFs. I just figured I'd clear the air with that one because I figured that's for a lot of us. The other thing, and of course I don't have one with me, is a pin that I sell. I have a 2-inch pin that I made of Oswald, and every campaign I'm selling 10, 12, 15 of them. So yeah, so that's what it is for me. So I'm just curious, what are you guys selling outside of your comic book that sells very well for you, right? So let's start off with not Jay, but Ozzy.
You said Ozzy?
Yes, sir.
I did a commission. It's a Scarecrow print. It was a commission, and I made it as a print. I sell it at conventions, but it sells so well, and I don't know why. I don't even like the character, and it's my best seller for some reason. I don't know.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Let's move it over to Timothy.
Okay, I sell a couple of things primarily through Kickstarter as my most popular platform. I do a little bit with the custom enamel pins. I have a designer I work with to make those. And I started working a little bit with these. It's a pearlescent print. What it is, it's a paper that's got sort of like it's like a luminescent stock, so that it looks sort of like the image is glowing a little bit. And it's a thick cardstock paper, and that's something they sell pretty well at conventions. And I also use them for prizes and whatnot. So prints and pins are kind of my main two non-comic related properties. But I haven't really dipped too much into the apparel. What I mean by that is, you can get kind of tied up with making hats and shirts and so forth. And of course, I respect that, man. It's a great idea. As they say, your mileage may vary, but I'm trying to focus really hard on the writing. I was getting too bogged down myself with choosing stitching and that kind of stuff. Like I say, my hat's off to you guys that do that. That takes a lot of effort and I'm trying to work my way into it because, as you know, we got to work on these products, right?
Yeah. Listen, it took me 3 years to make that pin, only because I was so indecisive. I was like, do I like it like this or I like it like that? It took forever, for me to make that decision. So
sure.
And it cost me $300 to make them. Like the cost was nothing, but it's like the decision was just took forever. But yeah, I know what you mean, man. Peter, what do you got?
Outside of comics, I've never sold anything outside of comics. I'm open to it. I've just never really put much time into it, right? Like to think about, like I've thought about the whole T-shirt thing, going through Vistaprint or someplace like that, right?
Right.
And I've seen people at different conventions sell posters and do well with the posters, and do well with the prints and do well with pins and stuff. I've just I've never really thought, and I probably should, but I've just never really thought of doing it.
Yeah, I gotta say that I sell more prints or posters than comic books.
Right. Yeah, no, I got you. There's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
George says, "What's up? What's up, George?"
What's up, brother?
Steve, what are you selling?
My best-selling item as a publisher is a book I didn't even write. It's that's why I did the reach over. Did a book called Terra Incognito, a guide to building the worlds of your imagination by a friend named Richard C. White. It was actually written as a guide for writers for world building and how to build governments and currency and religions and things like that.
Oh.
But then I started offering it on Drive-Thru RPG as a PDF for gamers, and that's where the book actually really took off for game masters who use it for world building. And then eventually it got picked up by a couple of colleges in Boston for game creation courses. So the book that sells the best, I got nothing to do with other than publishing it.
Well, you did the edits, right?
I did the edits.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm so proud. It's like your favorite son going on and being successful. So at least we have that, and it sells pretty well every year. So it's a consistent seller on Drive-Thru RPG. So not a month goes by that there isn't a sale. So
cool.
That's my best-selling item.
Nice. All right, we're gonna have to make a reversal on that at some point for you. Get something else, damn it. There's your name on it. So, Mr. Lanning, what do you?
I can't answer that question because I haven't been in that position, but I can answer it from the consumer position. Outside of comics, I do like the pins. Like the with the backs and everything. I do like the enamel pins. So for me, that's action figures are great, but they kind of have a tendency to take up a lot of space. So you have to be selective on that. So, but I think the pins are great. You can wear them, put them on your hat. I've got a couple of pins up there you can't see right now. It's good advertisement. Somebody wants to know what it is. So I'm an artist for hire. So.
A lot of the people that don't collect comics necessarily are pin collectors.
True.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm starting to think maybe I should make that a level in and of itself. Just get the pin.
Yeah, maybe.
I do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
can I ask
it's a little set
question?
with 3 pins.
I might have to consider that. Mr. Rosario, what do you got?
Oh man, you're right up my alley with this one. You tossed me to softball. Like Steven, right? I do stuff on Drive Through RPG. I got a character guide that sells like hotcakes for those world building game masters and stuff like that.
There you go.
That old Marvel Universe handbook, right? So that's a book. Timothy, I do shirts. I buy in bulk, right? My shirts come out to $5 a pop. We sell them $25 each. Or we do 2 for 40. I mean, yeah, 2 for 40, $20 a pop, just to get that ball rolling. High margin product, right? It's one of the things as a small publisher, you got to learn. You don't have a lot of books in your catalog when I was starting off. How am I gonna build those revenue streams? But my gravy train is this little bad boy right here. Okay, this is a shot
glasses.
That's shot glass. Look at you,
guys. I'm telling you, right? If you want to brand your stuff, but hit a community that is that 18 to 25 crowd that's maybe not buying certain comic books that you're putting out there, these little SOBs sell like hotcakes. All right. I was doing a baker's dozen, so what, 144. Sometimes I'll throw a few off ones in there. They were coming out prior to the pandemic, $1.75 a pop. We were moving them at $5 a pop. All right. But again, this SOB, right, in three different styles, just like this, made my booth at New York Comic Con 2 years in a row. Just covered those expenses.
Wow.
And I mean, you're hitting that demographic, that 18 to 25, that they're willing to spend though, right? And again, you're still branding your products.
Yeah.
One thing I did learn though is difference between the shot glass and shirts. They won't buy shirts that has your branded logo on it. They'll take a free shirt that has your branded logo, right? But they'll buy branded logo shot glasses. They don't care. They're like, oh my God, there's something different. But if that same logo was on this shirt, it does not move as much as a nice single image would.
Right.
Now let me ask you a question. Oh, go ahead. See, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm asking. What do you think that is? Do you think maybe because sometimes shirts have a tendency to fade, and the shot glass will continue to be useful?
That.
Or
It's a weird fucking train of thought where they're like, oh, I'm not going to spend money to rock somebody else's brand. It's kind of like paying for a shirt of just the Nike logo. Yet you'll see them wear they'll spend $100 for a Supreme T-shirt. They'll spend $100, for a Kith T-shirt, and it's just that in a block letter. But when it's something like us, I'm not going to brand somebody else's, comic book, or I'm not going to spend money for that. But they will spend money for branded shot glasses. I mean,
how many? Do you mind if I ask how many in a shot glass order? How many do you order? Do you have
a baker's dozen? I'll always do $1.44 so I can get under that $2 price point. But I haven't ordered prior to the pandemic. If I can, give me a second. I'm sorry. They come
And he's gone.
Yeah, we're gone, right? This is the 12 pack, so they're easy to transport.
Okay.
The case will rock and roll, but if you go into a smaller con, you can still bring some of these, and you're not going to be worried about carrying so much stuff back if you don't move them. The church basement con, bring 2 or 3 cases like this, and okay, if not,
no
like
kidding.
I said, these are great giveaways. Also, right?
Yeah,
I'm all about the tchotchke stuff.
Right.
I do a mystery box also at these conventions. All right. Mystery boxes are overstocked books that we're really not moving a lot of, but we can throw enamel pins in there, which I just started to get into. Little tchotchkes, right?
Right.
We move these also. $25 for one, or 40 for 2, right? And the books that you have a lot of that you're not moving as well, you can throw that in there. I'm never putting more than $10 worth of product, my cost, in there. So, if I got to flip it, I can flip it very easily. I mean, this was a softball question. I could spend hours and hours on this stuff. This is the most important thing. This bad boy right here, man.
Yeah.
All right.
We're
Now,
gonna do that.
so you say you do a baker's dozen. Is that a baker's dozen per design, or do they allow you to mix and match?
Baker's dozen per design. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Softball, it's your turn.
All right. We were touching a little bit on this on my show yesterday. Excuse me, but what is the furthest convention you have ever traveled to?
All right, Tim, you're up.
Well, as far as conventions, I don't travel as far, right? I've been doing this about 3 years, about 5 years total. But a quick disclosure I should make: I started as a short story writer, and speaking directly, I wasn't getting any traction doing that. And so what I've done is I've started converting stories over to an illustrated format, and very quickly started having moderate success. And what I mean by that, I started using a platform called Kickstarter. Most of you are pretty familiar with that. And right now we're doing the 5th one, which honestly, I'm surprised by that also. It's something I didn't really set out to do. It just kind of happened. So as far as conventions, I do Baltimore. I did one in Virginia. I guess the farthest, I was one in St. Louis. I did that one. But for me, this is, like I say, your mileage may vary, but I'm not quite to the level where I'm turning enough to support my presence at some of these conventions.
Okay.
When you think about, especially if I got to fly to it. So, if typically what I try to do is team up with somebody, that kind of thing. But I don't, this is, like I say, for me, it isn't feasible to do something like New York Comic Con, even though I have something now, like, I think it's 10 books or 12 books.
You think it's not feasible, but
well, thanks for saying that. And I do want to tell you, that's a genius idea, what you had there about the shot glass. And I'll tell you why I say this.
Mm-hmm.
The theory is, because I do have a little bit of a sales and marketing background.
Okay.
The theory is that a customer will, how do you say this? You'll be able to sell 20 $5 items faster than you can sell one $100 item. So by you having that, you're going to be able to draw people in and this kind of thing. I just recently got into the CGC sales of the slabbed books. Do any of you guys do that?
I did it initially, but the turnaround time for me is not feasible. And especially
right.
now. Before, when I first was doing it, it was about 6 months for a turnout. Now you're looking at 9 to 12 months before you can get something, and that's just it's not for me a cost efficient time.
Sure. I got a little bit of an in there. I used to work for a grading company. There was a competitive grading company called CBCS. It was called.
Yeah, they're still around.
Oh yeah. Well, my meaning is I don't work there anymore. But yeah, I was involved in the startup of that company. I was a director of operations there. So I got my finger in the pie of some of the grading community. And I have, I'll tell you what, we're showing them. It's, something like that. That's what they look like. And what I do is I pre-screen them for the 9.8s. And, there's people who collect 9.8 books almost no matter what the book is. But, I generally get $80 to $100 a pop for those.
Nice.
But now, it's like you say, though, the turnaround time can be it's pretty bad, let's be honest. Yeah. So you kind of have to know somebody, or, you can pay for the, that rapid turnaround fee they got, and you can get them back, pretty quick. But, I like your idea. I definitely would be interested in something like the shot glass. It's when we get off this show, that's probably the first thing I'll look into, because I had recently looked into, the series I write is called Water Wars. So I had been looking into like thermoses and, things that you could drink out of, and it would look sort of like a military thermos, I guess is what you might call it. I didn't do it on this campaign, but I just want to say I love your idea. I'll definitely look into that.
We're all going to swipe it, Rosario. You're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Good, I'm blind, man.
I'll shoot you your 10%. I'll shoot you 10% of the finder's fee.
Yeah, don't tell him that.
He will. He'll be hitting you up with email.
Peter, what do you think?
Where's the furthest you've ever traveled for a convention?
Well, the first
to promote your stuff. Excuse me,
to promote myself.
Yeah.
Halifax, which is probably about 4.5-5 hours away. It's another province over. But the thing is that I've only been doing this now for about 5 years, and for 2 of the years, when the pandemic just first started, I got invited to a few, one in the city over in Moncton called East Coast Comic Expo, which is the largest one in this province, and then they canceled it, right? So, and then I was invited to Shy Con, which is one in the Miramichi, which is, 3.5, 4 hours later city, and they canceled that. And then the good news is that, you know, all the local ones that we've had this year, I've been able to attend. I'm a featured guest in Fredericton, which is a city about an hour away, at the Big Country Comic Expo, and a couple weekends from now, Halifax for the HalCon, which is the largest one in Atlantic, Canada. So, but like,
Nice.
I love the idea of the shot glass, and I like some of the ideas that you guys are coming, because up until just recently, I worked for other people, right? I just wrote for publishers. I wrote for like Antarctic. I wrote for Second Sight. I wrote for Caliber. I didn't really. I wasn't independent like I am now with the Deliver Us from Evil and the Mud Madness. So, yeah, creating a brand and getting my brand out there is something that I really want to learn how to do and focus some time on.
Right.
It's not easy, brother. And I'll tell you this: if I was a smarter individual, I would not have spent as much time doing this as I have. You know, there's a certain amount of ignorance and stubbornness and chip on your shoulder that has kept me involved in this for so long.
Yeah.
All right. Steve, how far have you traveled?
San Diego twice.
Okay, where are you based out of?
Queens.
Oh, my man, you're right here.
Yeah,
Very nice. Okay.
yeah. I did San Diego in 2002 and 2005.
Okay.
It was a waste of time.
Really?
Both trips. Yeah.
Why? Can I ask why?
First year, I have a succubus character, sort of a throwback to Vampirella and 1970s horror characters,
Nice.
called Lorelei. And I tried to relaunch the series in 2002, so I went out there with a new first issue and got a booth and did the whole thing. And the market had completely changed as a backlash to the bad girl era of the 90s. So I got a lot of "How dare you come here?" and
What?
and
Wow.
women literally grabbing their boyfriends by the hand as they're coming over to look and saying, "That's not for you," and pulling them away. So
What?
the first day I went in, I was really happy and enthusiastic, and oh man, this is gonna be great. By the fourth day, I wasn't even looking at people. It was just like, you're not gonna buy it, move on.
But there's a huge market for those books.
Of course.
Yeah, but you're looking at 99, 2000 when it
Yeah.
was they oversaturated the market image and everybody else, and it just went.
No, not just that.
Kaput.
But look at,
No.
you know, you had Tucci with She, you had Worrying on Ariella, you had Polito with Lady Death. But funny enough, those things are coming back around now, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Lady Death is the biggest grossing book, or excuse me, Polito's Coffin Comics. I mean, this guy's doing almost $3 million a year on Kickstarter alone.
That's
right.
He knows how to market those things.
Yeah,
Taught
yeah.
so well.
Dude, you got Tucci bringing She back,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Even with the action figure, and you got Worrying on Ariella getting his second season announced on Netflix right now. So it's like, you know, it's what's old is new again.
Yeah, it's typical with comics. It has that cycle. So maybe it's time to break it out again, Steve.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I have a 48-page one shot that's all the art's done, all the colors done. I just have to put the rest of it together.
There you
Dude,
go.
I'm running a Bad Girl Kickstarter right now, man. It's yeah. I hate to say this. I don't want to make it sound like it's a cliche, because we do have passion projects, right? But you got to find out what's going to bring you in the money, right? What's gonna build your capital so you can produce those other books that you really want to do. You know, I mean, let's go back a second. Silvestri made his money on Witchblade. He didn't make his money on Darkness or Cyberforce or anything else like that, right? The foundation was Witchblade, and once that was done, okay, it gave him the revenue, the capital, the base, the war chest, whatever you want to call, to keep going to this day. I mean,
I'll give you an example. And that's going on now. My daughter told me about this manga they have, like it's in Walmart and everything, called Spy Family, and it's huge. But he said he doesn't really care too much about it. He said he just uses it because it makes him enough money to pay for things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nothing
that's
wrong
just
with that, man.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it's business.
Yeah, right.
Well, actually,
right.
I'm gonna save this question. Ozzy, what's the furthest you've ever been to travel to a show?
When I was in Mexico, probably San Diego.
Mhm.
Now that I live in Colorado, New York, I guess that's the farthest.
Yeah.
Because I live in the middle of the country, and I guess New York. I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Hold on, let me put this up. Gilbert Rodriguez asks, do you guys feel the bigger conventions are worth exhibiting at for independent self-published creators? What are the comparisons between doing big cons and doing small cons that
Yes.
you experience?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. And yes. 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 Even if you're only going to do it one time. And if this is the Gilbert that backed my campaign, if this is the Gilbert that I've known for years out of here in New York, Gilbert, if you were watching the stream yesterday, you won one of the prizes for backing the Kickstarter. But yes, because you need that experience, dude, right? You can't always set financial goals for your conventions. Are you going to make a ton of fucking money at New York Comic Con or San Diego? Probably not, right? But what other goals can you achieve there? Can you expand your network? Can you expand your customer base? Are you going to meet people that you never would have met up on a live stream like this, right? Or in a smaller convention? Yes, the smaller conventions are more intimate for you to practice your pitch, for you to go in there with a smaller expense base, for you to turn around some money in a smaller convention. Yeah, but you're not gonna know how to operate in a bigger arena unless you step foot in one.
Well, here's a small piece of advice. Try to find places and cities that you have relatives in that you could crash with, friends with that you could crash with.
That's true.
Those will mitigate some of your expenses. So you want to try to do that. I mean, I did Boston Comic Con. We did Daphne and I did that for 4 or 5 years running because my sister lived in New Hampshire. We would crash at her place.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be like, yeah, we'd go visit you and mine. We would go up there and I'd kiss them all on the cheek and all right, we're gonna go to bed. And then we would get up early in the morning and leave. So yeah, take advantage of friends and family because that's
right. Nothing wrong with that.
To you.
I stay in my car in parking garages, and I stay there. I'm not kidding. I save money on like I don't want to pay hotels,
right?
And then I sneak in food from outside. Like I don't have to
So
pay.
what happens when you got to take
it's expensive to put inside?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you got to pee or poop in the middle of the night, bro?
Wow. The convention. That's where you poop.
They have bathrooms.
Just hold it overnight.
Yeah, I know, man. I want to feel comfortable. We let that shit out.
Wow. So, Lanning, where are you? What's the furthest you've been?
For me to be Orlando, I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is about 60 miles outside of New Orleans. So Orlando, 9 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Mr. Rosario.
So I've flown. I'm in New York. I've flown to Puerto Rico to do the Puerto Rico Comic Con.
Oh wow.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, but they are like super manga anime over there, big time. And driving, I've driven to Orlando for MegaCon, to Chicago for C2E2, and like Calderon said, I go places where I got friends and family. You're damn right. We are crashing at the place. When I did when Wizard World was still something, and we do Wizard World Philly, I was staying in the south side of Jersey with family, right? Maybe Orlando, we stayed with my mother-in-law or cousin or my best friend. We got a huge family base out there. C2E2, no, we did Airbnbs out there. But we're going to be doing Dallas Fan Expo when it comes back around in June, and I got family out there, so we're staying in DFW. It helps to save on your expenses, guys.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was supposed to answer the question before you, but for me, it's San Diego. That's as far as I've been. I went there 6, 7, 8 years running. I don't remember. I mean, Steve, right between like what 2002 and 2010. I don't even remember was the last time I've been there. It was like I did it for like 7, 8 years running.
Oh, because you were in the the exhibit or the small press area?
We were in the small press area. Yeah, we did the small press area. We made good money. What's funny is I made probably enough money to cover all of the expenses, but I came home with donut afterwards.
So you just broke even, basically.
Right. And the thing is, we're talking airfare, hotel. I mean, we would cram 7 people in a room, and we were still paying like $600 a person.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, it was it was $300 to $400 a night, and we were there for like 7 or 8 nights. So it wasn't like, and it was fun though. I love it.
And the shipping.
And shipping. Yeah, that was another one. I was working for FedEx, and I would ship stuff FedEx ground, which would take about a week, which is fine because I was sending in advance, and I would get half off, and I was still spending $200 to $300, and this was in the early 2000s.
Oh wow!
Do they have a union over there like the Javits here at New York Comic Con?
Not that we ever had an issue with. No.
Okay,
I don't think so.
Guys, if you're ever going to do New York Comic Con and you're going to ship your stuff to the Javits, don't do it. Find someplace else. Find a buddy that you know that's out here that's doing it, because the union charges you storage and delivery. And when I say delivery, I mean taking it from their storage room to your booth. That's that you're even incurred that charge if you're taking it yourself because you don't want to wait.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You can't even use a hand cart, right? As of this year,
you could.
You can.
You could. But it only has to be 2 wheels. You can't do anything.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Wheels.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one advantage of. I forgot to mention that for MegaCon in Orlando. I had done that one. I forgot, but one advantage you have in Orlando, you can get a cheap hotel room in Orlando.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, we did Airbnb down there. They have
nice.
People down there own apartments just to do that. So it's a big vacation town, probably. So
very much.
Yeah, it's like Vegas.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Lanning, you're up.
Oh boy, I get to have one now, huh? All right. Is there something in indie comics that you keep seeing and you think maybe it's time to retire that? It could be something you see sold. It could be the way a cover's done. It could be a business proponent. Anything. What do you see? Anything in indie comics that you think, okay, it's time to retire that?
All right, Michael. Look, I know you're like the occasional co-host here, and we love you. You should not be talking about the co-host like that, though. Right?
Wow! Wow!
I keep drinking my whiskey.
I don't even know what to say to that. Golly. So JD, basically, JD, you've answered the question already. We can move on.
I know where he lives.
And it would be nice if he brings my pins too. Thanks.
They're gonna go in your coffin.
Just pin him on the lapel. It'll be fine.
As long as he gets them, right?
Exactly. As long as I get him, it's fine.
Like, hey, motherfucker, you got it, finally.
There you go.
Listen, as long as I don't bring it to you, you're always going to be expecting something. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll hold on to it for as long as possible.
So he's always going to be happy to see you because he thinks you have something for him. That's
right. Peter, you're up, sir.
To reply to his question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you like me to read it again?
No. It's what do you see as in indie comics, basically, that you think is overused and maybe should look? I've done very well with this genre, but zombies, and I like the Mississippi Zombie anthology that I wrote for, the one that come out back in March, debuted #1 in Canada and #3 in the United States on Amazon. So like it's not there's a big demand for it, but I personally you know, I see way too much of it, right? You know, that and like and yeah.
Well, it creates a lot of competition out there for, you have to write a unique zombie story to really stand above anything. So you're not just going to come out and come on. We get to the point where writing unique zombie stories are going to be far and few between.
Yeah, because everything's been done, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
No, not everything's been done. Oh,
no,
there's still fucking room.
you got something new coming out, something that
Yeah, dude. There's always new stuff coming out. But it's like all right. When you look at writing, right? There's only 37 thematic tropes out there.
Yes.
Okay, it's more than just the man versus
There's
man.
I'm telling you, there's a 38.
38?
I'm telling you, there's a
There's a
38.
mix and match option. There's got to be.
Possibly a 39.
Right, but that's the thing. It's all mix and match, dude. It's all mix and match, man. So it's like if there's still slices of the pie to take, fucking take it, bro. Take it. Don't let somebody else use it for you.
Just promote the book. Go ahead.
There must be a zombie book. You're talking so much about
Yeah,
it.
right?
We could wait. We could wait. No, that's out there. Oh, you mean the poster that's behind me? No, it's okay. Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
on the bright side, though, your book's already out there. We just don't need any more to come on market. That way, you don't have any competition.
Now show us the shot glass.
I showed you this shot glass because the zombie shot glass sells out. It's just like it's a power move, dude. And funny enough, I sold those like hotcakes also in Chicago, where I played the villain. Right? I don't know if you guys know wrestling terms, but I was generating heat. Right? I went to Chicago with this New York versus the World with books, shot glasses, and shirts, and I was telling them. First, I was telling them New York pizza's better, but I was telling them also. If you hate New Yorkers, you can watch us get eaten by zombies, right? If you love New Yorkers, you can see us try to survive the apocalypse. Either way, I win. It was like Elvis's promoter, right? He was also selling pins that said "I hit Elvis," so it didn't matter. He was getting money from the people that hated Elvis or from the people that loved Elvis.
There you go. So you were playing a heel.
Oh, big time, baby, big time. Nothing wrong with playing the heel, bro.
Nice. All right, Steve, how do you feel about it?
Cullen Bunn, he must be stopped. No, God bless him. But he writes like half of the Diamond catalog these days.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I don't pay that much attention to the indies that much. So I don't know. I see his name everywhere, so that's why I threw it out.
That's fair. Ozzy?
Well, I'm with Peter, actually. 100%. Like zombies, I never liked them. There's so many. And there's a few good ones, good stories, but other than that, it's just not good. I guess that's it. Yeah.
You're depressing Rosario. That's all I'm going to say. Getting more and more depressed. Like, I can just see him sinking in his chairs. A little further we keep going. Anyway, Tim, how do you feel about it?
Well, I'd like to give two answers here. The first one I'll give is sort of what I would call the easy answer, which it's easy for a guy like me to say, well, to me, it's three things, right? It's the zombies, the Cthulhu books, and what I call the boob books. And first off,
wait a minute.
I got nothing against any of those. Right? Here's the thing. Here's the reason why people chose them, right? Because they sell terrifically well. So for me to speak out against that would be kind of stupid on my part. So what I want to do is give a little bit more of a thoughtful answer to it, which I would give this answer, which is, and look, hey, before I seem like I'm bashing any product, I mean these things with all due respect. You chose kind of a challenging question. But I would say I got this one buddy, and you maybe know who I'm talking about. He is just making money hand over fist with selling his books with, I think the new ones are, they're 28 different variants of different, stages of undressed women. Trust me when I say, I love undressed women as much as the next guy, right?
Yeah. So how is your friend Brian Polito?
I didn't even mean him, but in a way, these guys, they're marketing geniuses.
I'm going through
right?
like 5 or 6 different guys over here. So
it's even hard to tell who we're talking about. There's so many of them. And I would say that, first of all, that proves obviously that I don't know much about marketing, if I would even suggest such a travesty, right? But so what I want to do for a more thoughtful answer is something like this. There's kind of a sense in the indie community, and a present company accepted, because I'm meeting most of you for the first time. And what I would say, there's kind of a sense in the indie community that we're kind of all in it in ourselves. We're swimming, right? And what we have to do is kind of retire the concept of the individuality of this thing, and to somehow try and unite forces and try and leverage this against the printing companies and the Comic Cons. And like, if you could picture just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 7 of us in this room. And by the way, I've noticed JD already does try to do this, and he's one of the guys that I know a little bit. There's got to be a way to unite these talents together and leverage it economically in both printing and in convention attendance. And what I mean by that is that for any of us individually to pay the fees of some of these things, like Jay mentioned earlier, that some of it can be prohibited, but it's really in your mindset of how you're marketing the products. But you can see, okay, well, now instead of ordering, let's say you order 500 books in the first run, or let's say 1,000, now we're placing the order for 7,000 because there's 7 of us, right? And now instead of doing, let's say, an artist alley table, and I'm going to do for my first time a double table. I couldn't quite step up. You can also do what they call the publisher table, which is, I think it's 4, and it's the 4 long tables. But, some of these numbers, man, they're out of this world that they're getting for this. And that's before you get to the fees of the union, like Jay was mentioning. But let's say that we worked out some kind of agreement ahead of time, and what the terms of that would end up being, I don't know. But they would have to be favorable to the creator if we somehow could unite our forces, and if we retire the idea of that we're swimming in this thing individually.
Yeah.
I love that, Timothy. I do. I want to see that happen, but too many people don't think that way. There are a few that do, right? But add whatever excuse you want, whether it's cost prohibitive, whether it's too many chefs in the kitchen when it comes to that, right? Or like I wrote up with Calderon times before, when he's mentioned the whole gang printing concept, which I'm down with. Shit, if we're saving money, I'm down with that, right?
Right.
But it only takes one person who, I'm not ready in time, right? To pull off the numbers for everything else.
Sure.
So how do you account for that, right? I mean, what happens? Do you start to ban the people from doing it, right? Do you give them, 3 strikes and then you're out? Or, when do you move on? Why should you move on? And can you move on to a point where it's not going to damage what you're building?
Alternate Comics tried this and they failed. They're not doing it anymore. They were trying to do the same. They did it for a while, and now they're not doing it. They're printing.
Well, and I agree with you, and I don't know what the solution is. My sense is that, how do I want to say this? It's easy to pick out the 99 reasons why something won't work, but we only need to find the one reason why it will work. And I think that'll open the door. It'll open the door for everybody. And also I want to put a tail on that to tie into something Steven said, which was there's a tendency in the comics industry. And like I said, I've only been doing this about 4 years, 5 years. So if you disagree with me, please let me know. But there's sort of a mindset where the upper tiers of the publishing industry are sort of dominated by 2 or 3 or 4 writers. And it's very difficult to get your foot in that door. I've been lucky too. I've had a couple of things getting picked up by some publishers, and really for the first time. But I've even met some of the editors of these companies, and it's very difficult to, he mentioned Cullen Bunn, which he's a great writer and everything, but there's an awful lot of readers. Let's pass the cup around. We've got some great stories. And maybe the answer is something like, hey, there's 7 of us together. We represent this collective. Here's what we got. And then maybe it's a short, 3-page pitch of each product. And, maybe there's some leverage in it that way.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like Jay said, it's hard getting a group of people to get together and make a decision, with one unified voice. I mean, I was there, Jay was there when I got a bunch of different books published by a bunch of different publishers, and we gang printed, we were able to do it. But it sometimes requires a taskmaster type of situation where I would have to just be on everybody's back. I need
Right.
your books on this date. I need
Right.
and it started out 6 months before I needed the books. I
Mhm.
need your books by this date, and it's constant reminders. I need your books on this date, and the sooner you get it to me, the better, right?
Well, let
And
me
it's
ask you.
constant.
Go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this question: before you can even become a part of this union, though, you should be able to have books that are already established as being printed, or already established as being done, like a set number, like say maybe 3, or something along those lines. Would that work?
That's
Right.
not
Do you mean the individual bringing a catalog into this, or do
Yeah,
you mean,
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
also the thing is, see, here's the issue: is sometimes not so much of them having a catalog, but sometimes also them having a capital, right? Do they have
Right.
the capital to finance those books? Because sometimes that's an issue.
True.
Not everybody's going to have a liquid $4, $9, $10,000, just lying around to print up those books, right?
Yeah. I was in a group a few years ago, probably a decade ago, and we had the same thing. Like we used to go publish through that company, but not everybody's in the same page because of money or artistic abilities or whatever. We published some at the beginning. It was a good idea, but like you guys said, like there's not everybody's on the same page.
Right.
And
Right.
not
And
everybody
then
can-
Yeah.
I want to add, if I could, on top of that, and I hope Timothy didn't leave because okay, he's back. All right.
Sorry, I think I had a little power outage there or something.
It's also, is it time effective, right? And the time that I'm going to spend dealing with this collective, how much more can I get done on my own?
Oh yeah, good point.
that's
Yeah.
true too.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not knocking the concept, not at all.
Yeah.
But I've seen it, in whatever, in these 15 plus years, I've seen so many different approaches to it. It doesn't intrigue me as it once did. When Calderon brought this concept to me before that we were involved in, right? It was a spin that I had never heard of before. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, we can actually do something with this. And when it ended up being a farce, it was just like, okay.
Now, what do you mean by? Tell me a little detail about what happened there.
You
don't have to get into the gory details of who did what.
We were sold a bill of goods on being carried in a major retail outlet across the nation, and
that didn't work out. Exactly.
That didn't work out because there was no contract. That
there was no deal.
There was no deal, right?
Forget contracts. Contract has nothing to do with it.
We went to the corporate headquarters to sign the contract on the day of, which was just
that's where the forest
parts. So there's also that to factor in. It's how many times have I been burnt, and until I see something actually substantial, I get people getting together to get a bigger spot at New York Comic Con, because for me in small press, that's $2,300 for a corner booth.
Right. Hey, and do you mind if I ask? So you do the small press booth, so you have the oversized booth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to do the 10 by 10 booths in the main floor, which it was about 35 and change, right? But I was making the same amount of money that I make in small press. So I just shoot down to small press, and my margin's still great for the weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right. Hold up. Before we move on, let me put up some of these. Daphne says parody covers of Spider-Man 300 needs to stop, especially so many people contort their characters to fit the layout, and it looks stupid most of the time.
Hot take.
People need to think better about which homage covers work best for their characters.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
She says, zombies are so 2 years ago. Sasquatches and similar cryptids are so hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it says nobody sells any books until I get my medieval unicorn Viking slut one
That's
shot.
my girl.
Ready covers done. There you go.
Yes, I'm totally for that.
Yeah. The brown dog says, I agree. See.
All right. What's up, Eric?
There you go.
All right. So,
well, with that whole thing, though, there's going to be somebody left doing the heavy lifting on all that too. So
Right. So now, I mean, we can spend hours trying to break down the logistics, and I have with Calderon. I mean, a personal time. We have spent hours laboring over the breakdown of it all, and how people get compensated for their time spent in different areas too. That also has to be factored in. I mean, the image concept is so nice and beautiful to think of, right? The collective. But you got to remember, if it wasn't for their popularity status, they never would have survived.
Right. It's almost the only example where it has ever worked.
Yeah. I mean, Bravura died. What other?
I wouldn't even say on that grounds though it didn't even really work, because eventually they ended up eating each other before even a decade was up.
Oh, of course.
At Image. So it didn't even really work there either.
They all ended up fighting.
They're all coming back to DC.
Yeah.
So okay,
they all ended up fighting over Alan Moore.
Yes. Right.
Right. I read that cassette interview.
Do you mind if I ask this question quick? So, Jay, in a year, or maybe everybody, if it's okay if I ask this, how many conventions do you do in a year?
Well, I have not done any since the pandemic. The most I did prior to the pandemic was 6 in a year.
Okay, so about one every 2 months, roughly.
And that was still a lot,
because
it just the logistics of planning the travel and lodging, that's a headache.
Right. That's kind of where I was gently going with that. Maybe the answer is something more like, and I'm kind of spitballing a little, but maybe the answer is something more like not where you're teamed up on the print end, because we know that's got a lot of pitfalls. And of course, I would imagine ego is going to start entering into that a little bit as well. But if you could team up at least on the convention and you pool in on the marketing, because, in my case, I got my marketing expenses now exceed. Basically, for me, each Kickstarter, whatever I make on the Kickstarter, is just enough to promote the next thing that's coming out, basically. So, it's not even really fair to say I'm ahead on it, because the marketing probably actually is the biggest expense now. But maybe I say, maybe that doesn't work either. But if you would have, and again, just to say the 7 of us, and you got 7 people sharing a booth, well, then, it would give all of us at least a shot. It might be something like, for example, I might never get to NYCC. That might be my only shot to try it if we did it like that.
I hear you. I do. But then it starts to break down. It's like, how much does everybody get in that space, right? And then should somebody who has a bigger catalog be limited to the amount of space allocated to everybody else on the rest of the table? Now, what happens if somebody who does have a bigger catalog, okay, you know what? I'll spend more within the collective to get more space. And then what happens when you're outside of the booth, right? And you're doing a promo or a panel, or you're part of some meeting someplace else,
right? And
you're not there to do the hand selling. Is the rest of the collective going to do that for you, right? Have you
sure. And not for nothing, some people are naturals at talking to customers and they can passionately promote a product. And then some people, nothing against them, some people are a little bit more withdrawn, and maybe they're not as effective in a scenario like that.
Exactly.
When I would go to San Diego, we would be always sitting next to a group of kids, and there would be 9 of them from the local art school, all at the same table. Okay, and they would all be like grouped up, and they like smashed behind their table, and they're out there and they're all pitching and selling. And you can see some of them are successful, some of them aren't, but you can tell it's a headache. And I see this also at Mocha. So it's like, when you have that type of situation, it can be a little tough. What I would suggest, it would probably be better, is like if you could approach someplace like New York and say, listen, we want an island, right? We want 10 tables.
Right.
And try to negotiate maybe a better deal on those 10 tables per unit.
Right. Sure.
So everybody gets a table.
A 20 by 10 is around 5 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 20 by 20, that's where you're getting your 10 tables. But a 20 by 20 is going to break your ass.
Yeah.
Even when you break it down to everybody. 20 by 20 is what, Marvel was getting. So that's, and then is everybody who's in this collective, are they coming with enough merch?
Right.
Books.
Yeah, but that's up to the individual. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to I hear you.
I've
seen guys with a business card on the table, right?
I know.
Have you not ever been to those shows where you just see the guy has one business card on the table? That's what they're like. Well, yeah, I got to promote my book. I'm just gonna.
And maybe it's me, but visuals, optics mean something, right?
Yeah.
So if you got all of these people, and then you got that one person with that one book, and it's just like it ruins the look of everybody else on the table because you're associating with that.
Right. Sure. And if you don't,
I totally get what you mean. I totally, yeah, absolutely.
No. I've sat next to plenty. That's like you sitting next to an empty booth. Sometimes you end up.
Yes.
So what? It's an empty booth. You can move into it, right? Empty tables, you move into it, right? You just spread your stuff. Or, I have enough confidence in my product that it looks good enough that I don't care if the guys next to the right or left of me, what they're doing.
I hear you. I do, right? But myself, if I see 6 people within this collective and they've got a ton of stuff there, and I see one person there with one book, I'm like, he's playing with daddy's money. And so if he's playing with daddy's money, are the rest of the people that are associated with them, are they going through their vetting process to understand that maybe this person is not a primetime player? And
hold on. No. Now I know your argument is bullshit. All right, listen. Because I can see you just trying to save face for a dumbass argument. Listen, it's just you could be in a row of tables at any show, right? Who knows you're associated with anybody?
If you got your own island and you're called the Broadway Collective,
nobody ever said anything about being called a Broadway. Nothing.
He just said each
person. We can have a right. But each person is an individual. You got your own table. I never said anything about branding or labeling the collective. We can just all go. We're negotiating for a table.
So you know what? I apologize. For
don't apologize. Just admit you were wrong. Shut up.
No.
Jay is pre-shaming.
I always see this. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to our situation for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, with our situation, we weren't a collective, but they wanted us to fucking reprint the books with their fucking logo on my fucking covers. And you think I would have been able to trade them now after the fact? Fuck no. Right. Was it mentioned that we were the Broadway Collective? No, it wasn't.
But you got to understand. But also, you got to remember, I was there for that, and I said no too.
And I said no too. Right.
It was a definitive no.
Right. And some of the people that were there were like, oh, well, then maybe they should be on this, in this group.
Right, but that's why it required us to make sure that they didn't make those mistakes.
Yeah, fuck them.
Anyway, all right, so we were still answering this question. What was the question again? Oh, what should we have in this damn?
Yeah, what's time to be retired in Indie Comics? That's what we're doing.
All right. Yes, I'm gonna agree with Daphne. The homage covers of the Spider-Man 300 or the Crisis on Infinite Earth cover where they're carrying the load. But you know what? A pet peeve of mine, a real big fucking pet peeve, because I'm out there grounding it out with my shit, right? Is the people who overprint their prints of mashup IPs that they don't own. That fucking gets under my skin, bro. Just because you draw Homer Simpson, wearing Batman's costume, come on, man. And you're selling a ton of those shits. Bro, you didn't fuck up. You're riding on somebody else's jock, man. You really are. Yeah. Sorry, that bothers me.
I get that.
It's one thing if you were somebody that worked on that product before. Totally understood. No problem. It's another thing if you're doing a sketch cover, right? Or a piece of original art of Batman for that event. Fuck yeah. No problem. But if you're not paying the fucking dough to get a Batman or a fucking Homer Simpson license or whatever the fuck you want to call it, bro. Fucking Captain Caveman is Thor. Fucking Minnie Mouse is Princess Leia. I don't give a shit, right? If you're not the one putting in the fucking dough for that, stop riding on somebody else's fucking jock. 1, 2, stop paying for a fucking ton of prints. And 3, fucking do the honest shit and try to build up your own stuff from the ground up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
Fuck no.
Tell us how you really feel, Jay.
Yeah, because there's a motherfucker out there who's doing Kickstarters for a minute and constantly launching shit, right? And he's doing that stuff. And Kickstarter hasn't fucking noticed that. They're mashups of fucking IPs and they're on the covers, man. Get that out of there, bro. Get that fucking out of there. You're making the rest of our community look like we can't come up with original shit. And he's making fucking dough because that same Minnie Mouse on Princess Leia's got fucking its tits coming out. Come on, man. Get that shit out of here. Skeevy bastard fucking doing tits. What's wrong with you? I mean, you're a sick fuck doing that.
No, but how many copies did you buy though?
Right. They sell.
So,
oh, sorry.
This man can't even. I can't even keep my camera straight. He keeps going.
Yo, dude, when I get into it, you know, because I'm passionate. I'm passionate. There's a lot of us out here grinding it the fuck out, plain and simple. Right? We decided to put not just our money where our mouth is, but where our fucking ass is. All right? Because our ass is on the line every time we release a new book. And this, give me the fucking soapbox now. All right? And,
all right, chill. Let me finish answering this question. So we got to promote books, bro. We got to.
So they don't have to go sell mashup.
It goes back into that because we're grinding it the fuck out. And I guarantee you, the majority of the people working in big industry books today can't do what we do. They will not. They don't even know how to put on 3 of the fucking hats that we wear on a regular basis, bro.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Good job, Jay. Good job. All right. Let me answer the question real quick. Yeah. Right. I think for myself, I think that my biggest pet peeve is there's too much product that's coming out that's just not ready for prime time.
Yes.
And that's been a big complaint of mine for many years. I'm a super backer on Kickstarter. All right. Or as I like to refer to myself, I am like a degenerate. I order books. Okay. I read a lot of books. Right.
Define degenerate then.
Oh, it's an uncontrolled. It's a definitive uncontrolled. Just need to get these things.
Are you half the porn output then?
Yes. No.
Now degenerate is having physical media. So I mean,
right.
Yeah, but he's so degenerate he can't buy physical books anymore. Everything he has to do is digital because he got no more space.
Right. This is not true. But yeah, you should have seen some of the stuff I picked up today, man. I got some nice books.
I say he got it. I saw the shelf he posted not too long ago. I don't know about. Yeah, I'm sure he's got room for physical.
but there's just too many books that come out where it's just not ready. Like, I get a lot of books back from a lot of different people, and I read them and I go through them, and I'm just like, why was this published? Why did I spend $20 on this? And I don't necessarily have buyer's remorse. Like, I get the books, and everybody's at their certain levels, right? But I can tell no one spoke to an editor, right? Yeah. Steve has been there to beat the hell out of me many times, right? In this particular regard, and listen, and in the end, I deserved a lot of those beatings, and probably a hell of a lot more, right? And that's fine. But I got the beating. But you can tell a lot of these other people, they didn't get that beating. And you read the stuff, and you're just like, this could have been, stuff could have been done with the pacing, this is stuff that could have been done.
Can I just ask a tag-on question to what you're saying?
Yeah.
Would you go back?
I'm not talking about you.
No, you are. Well, would you go back to them a second time to see if they've learned from their first mistake? To see if you wouldn't? Okay.
Rarely. What I'll do is I'll wait maybe for another project, or I'll wait for like a trade. You know what I mean? Like I'll wait like, it'll be a couple years, and then I'll be like, let's see what they've done, and then maybe it's improved, because you do see improvements. Like I always say, look at Dave Sims' Cerebus #1 and look at issue 25. And if you look at #1, you'll be like, was this the same dude? Was this the same person? Right? Because you can see that huge jump. And that's just him doing the grind and just, learning as you go.
The opposite is look at Rob Liefeld's Youngblood #1 and look at his most recent Spider-Man Venom piece that came out a few weeks ago, right? That's
Yikes.
the other side of that coin, dude.
Oh.
It's like you lost so much shit.
Going down.
I thought you were gonna say, look at Raphael's, what is it, Youngblood #1, and then look at Alan Moore's Supreme, where he got an actual professional to work on.
Yeah, but listen, everybody knows Supreme was just unfinished Superman books. But
That's true.
whatever.
All right, Mr. Landon, your question.
He asked.
Oh, I have to answer it now.
Yeah, I figured you probably have the most horrible response out of all of us.
Zombies on orange covers with tits while they're doing the Amazing Spider-Man 300 pose.
All right,
There you go.
Now I want to see that.
No, well, I'll be honest with you, and this is completely emotional. It's not from a business mindset at all because they say they sell. I'm getting to the point that I don't like homage covers. I really don't, because I feel like if you're going to be unique and you're going to be different and you're going to be out there, do that. Do the different covers. Do those things because you don't know what's selling your book. Is it the characters, or is it just the fact that somebody recognizes that Wolverine Hulk cover?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. But
unfortunately, people pays for it. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's a completely emotional thing.
Yeah.
As far as I'm tired of seeing it, but I know that it does sell. So it's kind of
it sells because nobody's putting out anything else that's interesting enough to capture the market or marketing something interesting enough.
All right, Mr. Breau.
Yes.
Deliver us from evil, sir. Give us a breakdown. What are we looking at?
Print ready. Fantastic art from Mattia Doggini. You can read right in there. I can't read it, but I've been getting some really good feedback. I've got a PDF copy that I sent out to a bunch of different creators, and they've sent some good feedback, and I've gotten some fantastic reviews. Issue 2 is almost print ready, so one of the things that bothered me the most about Kickstarter campaigns was I backed some and still haven't got product. And some of these campaigns are 2 or 3 years old. So I want people out there to know that issue 1 is print ready. Issue 2 is almost print ready. Issue 3 is being drawn as we speak. Right. So there's and one of the things that always bothered me too as a consumer, when I go out to buy comic books in my local comic book stores, get issue 1 of whatever, and then 8 months later, issue 2 comes out. I forget I even have it in my pull list, So I'm trying to focus more on having the series done before I even get it out.
Right.
So and the next soup that I'm going to do is a comic called Mud and Madness. And issue 1 is already print ready. Issue 2 is almost print ready. So is that what you wanted to hear? Or did you want me to describe what's going on in the comic?
No, it's up to you. I mean, well, here's the thing. Why did you choose Zoop?
Oh, this is the first time I've ever done crowdfunding. Before, I think you and I talked about this. When I first came into Indy Comics, everything I did was published by a publisher. Right. So I started off with Antarctic Press, and then I went to Caliber, and then I went to Second Sight, and I still got ongoing stuff with the 3 of them, right? So I've never really crowdfunded a comic book before, so I just wanted to try it. And Evan Posio, I think some of you guys know him, he had some good success with Zoop. So I just figured I'd just give it a try and see what happens. Okay. Now the campaign's not live yet. I'm just waiting. We're still working out some of the things behind the scenes with Zoop themselves, but we should be going live anytime soon.
Okay. Well, that was my next question. Do you have a launch date? So obviously
no, not yet.
Gotcha. Now the other question I have is, did they put it together for you, or did you put it together yourself? Like they did the campaign, because in Kickstarter you go in and you put in all the elements and you set up your own levels.
It's both. They walk me through. They help me with things. They make suggestions. Right. based on what's worked in the past, you know,
Mhm.
especially with tier levels and stuff, because I really personally I have no experience. I didn't even know what to ask for as for you know, like a, you know what I mean, like how
Mhm.
much I want to raise. Like I wasn't even sure about that, so they did help with a lot of that stuff,
Okay.
which I'm grateful for, because like I said, I really have, and Mattia has no experience with it either, right? So
Mhm.
we're kind of relying a lot on their help, which I'm grateful for, because it'll help me in the future if I do decide to go the Kickstarter route. Then I'll have experience with setting up a campaign and what tier level, what to have in your tiers, and what's a reasonable ask.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I put the link up in the show notes, so if anybody wants to sign up, they can sign up. Because yeah, I
Who
mean,
did the cover?
what?
Who did the cover?
Stefano Cardicelli, Bram Stoker Award winning Stefano Cardicelli.
Nice.
Yeah,
I worked with him too.
and
Yeah.
he did the cover for issue 2, and he also did the 2 covers for the Mud and Madness issue 1 and Mud and Madness issue 2, right? So, you know, he's never failed me with the art, so I keep going with them.
All right.
Good.
Mhm. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Cool. When the issue comes out, how many pages is it going to be?
Issue 1, 22 pages. Issue 2 is 22 pages. Issue 3 is 22 pages. The Mud and Madness one that I'm doing it with Alessio Nocerino. He's also an Italian artist. He's just done some work with Jungle Comics at AP, and he's also got another project coming out, a big one with Ben Dunn, and he's done the art for Mud and Madness 2, the interior pencils. And each one of those issues is also 22 pages. So they're all 22 page comics. And like I said, Deliver Us from Evil 1 is print ready. Deliver Us from Evil 2 is almost print ready. And number 3 is being penciled. And like the Mud and Madness issue 1 is print ready. Issue 2 is 2 pages away from being print ready. So
Nice.
Nice. Well, I mean, listen. I mean, the second you hear that sucker's up, you gotta let us know.
no, absolutely.
Mhm. Don't mind me. I'm going through what is it? Rosario issues.
I struggle. Listen, I struggle with understanding the interface on this dashboard, so I'm not going to knock him. I promised him I won't be knocking him.
You know, but I still got to give him a hard time because he has knocked me quite a bit over.
Yes, yes.
He did. All right.
That's me.
Tim, yes, this is all you. Oh, do you want me to play the video?
Not necessarily. I can sort of pitch it if you prefer.
Okay, that's fine.
The videos, it goes through some of the art and it's me talking, which it might be more effective to just have me say it because sometimes the sound doesn't come as well through the feed. But the series is called Water Wars 2288. It is a series of post-apocalyptic short stories. One of the things about the series, each issue is a standalone story, meaning you don't have to read the other ones to understand what's going on. This is the 4th issue in which 2 civilians escaping from a dystopian government encounter a genetically enhanced Minotaur. All the stories fit into the same timeline, and they all even kind of know each other, but each one is like I say, it's a standalone, so you wouldn't necessarily have to buy all of them to figure out what's going on. That said, if you like things that are sort of connected, they are all connected by their lore, as it were. And the framing device of the stories, it's what we call sad and beautiful stories. And what I mean by that, they are set up in the way, sort of like the short stories of Richard Matheson, Ray Bradbury, Rod Serling, things like that. If you like kind of those old TV shows like Twilight Zone, Night Gallery, you probably would like the Water Wars. And the thing that's kind of cool this time around, we have a lot of really cool collectibles for backers. For instance, it comes with a chrome enhanced trading card. We do write our own theme songs. As I mentioned, we're avid musicians over here. And it also comes with a set of what we call tactical maps, which what that is, it's a chrome enhanced map. And it's essentially a printing process where, it's a 2-layer print where one layer is chrome and the paint shows through the chrome. It's a pretty neat looking map. And what we've tried to do, these are short stories, as I said, and we try to pair up with, the goal was, let's get some of the best artists in the world. And we've got Renan Shoddy, we've got Erwin Arosa, I got David Dion on interiors, and we're really proud of how it came out. I hope you guys will consider checking it out. I tried a few different things this time around in the marketing of it, and here's what I mean by that. I went to a little bit cheaper issue. It's an $8 printed copy, which is relatively inexpensive in the Kickstarter world, and of course it notches up depending on if you want to go to the foil edition and this kind of thing. We do have digital packages for our digital backers, and the digital packages, even if you get the lowest level, which is a $5 donation, it comes with every digital thing you can get, which is the maps. It comes with 10 theme songs, and the songs are pretty cool. It's a 64-track digital recording. It sounds a little bit like they're a little bit like movie themes, if you know what I mean. And also, I'm a metalhead, full disclosure, so they all tend to, work their way up to a powerful kind of metal climax to the theme. I've also got sets, if you're so inclined, where you can buy the whole series. There's 4 issues so far. It's basically 2 series. There's the 2288 series, which is tends to be things along the line of fantastical sci-fi stories, and the Chronicles series, which is a little bit what some people might call hard sci-fi, and they're sort of framed along the short stories of what Isaac Asimov would be if you're a fan of his. If you like those kind of stories like I, Robot, Battlestar Galactica, things like that, you probably would like Water Wars. One of the hallmarks of it, they tend to be female protagonists. So if you like, and it's funny, I kind of made a brief, not really a complaint necessary earlier, but there isn't any kind of, the stories are very PG-13. There's no nudity or anything like that. They just happen to be female protagonists. But if you like things like Ellen Ripley from Alien or Imperator Furiosa from Mad Max, if you like sort of, gritty female characters, you will like Water Wars 2288.
Nice.
All right.
I'm getting it.
Oh, thanks, man.
I like the stories for sure.
Yeah, and
Did you write all of the stories yourself?
I do. Oh, and take a quick pause there on that blue. That is one of the things for backers within the first 48 hours. You get the organic civilian ID badge. One of the part of the lore is that, of course, in the future, they are driven between a mechanical rebellion called the Robocracy, which is slowly taking over the above ground world. And so basically all the humans are trying to band together to survive. There's no powers or anything like that. There's no superheroes in this book, but it does have what I call fantastic sci-fi elements. There's cybernetic parts and irradiated creatures and dystopian governments, all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm the writer of these stories. It's presented in an anthology format. In this case, there's a team of 5 artists that I work with. And of course, there's 2 letterers and 2 designers. But up till this point, I've written all the stories and edited all the stories. People have asked me, am I open to including scripts by other authors in the Water Wars series? The answer to that question is yes. And I would love to do that if anybody wants to take a swing at some sci-fi stories. I kind of accidentally became a publisher and a Kickstarter guy. I was telling JD this, using Kickstarter is something you do the first time. And I had never used the platform before. And then it's kind of like getting on a train. The train leaves the station. And if you have one successful one, it's like an engine. It keeps powering the other stories. And yeah. I've been very fortunate, and I'm super grateful. My largest category is returning backers. The backers seem to like the stories. And there's a set of the back issues to show you roughly how many issues we have in the series. That's a little misleading there because you'll also see a couple variants. It's actually, I think, 9 issues total, something like that. But they all do come with a guarantee, too, especially for you creators. Hey, if you don't like it, man, I give you your money back. I'm not in this for the money. I'm just trying to promote my stories. Like the rest of you comic book creators, we're incredibly wealthy, right?
Yeah, baby. Oh,
JD, there's the pins I was telling you about. Those are they represent 3 of the stories, which is the first one is it's what they call a wordless graphic novel. It's a story of a robot who is taking care of an abandoned cathedral in the future. He is the hunchback of Theological Quadrant 19. The one in the middle is the girl with no name. She is Citizen 0313, in which the citizens are identified by their blood type, is what it is. And the one on the right is Lost at Sea, in which in this apocalyptic future, New York is underwater, and a sea captain, he's a poetry quoting sea captain who is searching for survivors, and he encounters, I'll just give away the spoiler, it's robot Marilyn Monroe. So if you think you would like a story with robot Marilyn Monroe, you would probably like Lost at Sea. We do trading cards too. There's some of the characters you'll see in the set. And all mine, I admire everybody who uses pirate ship and they do their own fulfillment and that kind of thing. I've determined that for myself, the time and the effort required to ship some of these products out was more than I was able to devote it. It keeps me from making the next book, you see. So I now go with professional fulfillment through Comics Wellspring. Essentially what they do is, I put their banner ad on my Kickstarter there, and you get a little price break for that, but everything is now drop shipped from the printer, unless if somebody orders, some of the posters, or if they want something signed, or some of the CGC slabbed books, I do still ship those from my home. But in an effort to be more professional, as we kind of mentioned earlier, my books are all done. They're sort of in the can, as they say. This isn't a thing where I'm trying to raise money to complete a book. All 4 issues are done. So, and actually, there's been a Kickstarter for each one, too. And like I mentioned, each one sort of propels the next issue. So, man, I hope you guys will check it out. And I would love to hear what you thought of it. I highly value the opinions of other creators. And I also kind of want to say thanks to JD for inviting me on the show. And also thanks to the indie community, who's really been terrific to me. I'm really grateful about this whole thing. It's still somewhat of a surprise to me that it's gone this far. Like I say, it sort of happened accidentally. I really never had any success with the short story writing. Of course, that's a different path. You submit to magazines and this kind of thing. But once I started illustrating them, it was like bam, bam, bam. And they've been very well received. And I think it was Peter mentioned about Antarctic. These are serialized through Antarctic Press's Planet Comics. And number 8 is in stores this week.
Oh, nice. Okay. I got that on my pull.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's the one with the red cover. It is... It essentially what that story is, it's Water Wars #2, and that's where you first meet the girl with no name.
Who does the covers? Those covers are amazing.
There's a team of artists. The one you see right in the front there, that's a fella by the name of Erwin Arosa. He's my variant cover artist, and he also is the full-time artist of the Water Wars Chronicles. And like I say, the theme of what we shoot there for is the sad and beautiful. There's the 2 main characters. The girl on the left, that's Citizen 0313. And on the right there is her partially assembled guardian.
Partially assembled?
Yeah, I'll give it up to you. Basically, in number 3, what we found is that, they're sort of scanning this wasteland for the survivor. And what they're doing, they're scanning for blood types that may be compatible to save this pandemic that's going on. Well, 0313, her blood type is compatible. So they instantly alert the guardian, but she wasn't out of this. It's like a biogenesis cradle. She wasn't completed yet. And it was like, look, you have to go right now. We found her. So she runs out and she's, her skin's not on the hallway. She kind of looks like a robot mummy, sort of, and she only has 1 arm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. There's our, we kind of mentioned the homage. Go ahead, sir. I'll answer a question.
And like it's like everything that I've heard is like unique. It's like I haven't heard it before. It's not like you're taking somebody else's ideas and just making them your own.
Well, right. And really what we've tried to do is, we advertise it as a post-apocalyptic tone poem. And people say, well, what does that actually mean? That's kind of an odd description. And when you talk about some of the earlier works of Edgar Allan Poe and things like that, when you read the books, they're designed, even with all the wording, to make you feel a certain way. And what we've tried to do with Water Wars 2288, and particularly with the Chronicles, you find if you read through them, they're kind of like heavy with the pathos. And there's usually what I call a twist at the end. And if I remember, we're all writers in this room. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give it up to you because, you know, I'm not too worried about spoilers or anything. But for example, in episode 4 here, what you got, they come across this genetically enhanced Minotaur, and it ends up being a fight. They've got to fight this villain in the series, right? Well, the twist in this one is that the Minotaur, the only reason he's protecting the barrier is because he's found a way. He has a wife who's pregnant with his first child. So the Minotaur is only protecting his unborn son. So the ending is they're kind of walking left. She's like, well, wait a second. Were we the bad guys? Like, you realize that my two characters are in fact the bad guys of this issue.
Nice twist.
Yeah, and they all have a little twist. That's why I mentioned if you like things like Rod Serling and Richard Matheson and kind of those, what I realize now are probably considered very old school stories, but each one has an ending where it's probably not quite what you think it was.
So comics that make you think.
Right. Yes. And if you're into that kind of thing, and I sense that you guys are very open-minded, each short story comes with a theme song. And, you know, if you're really into it, you can even listen to the theme song. But say, for example, I'll use number 3 because that was just completed in the last Kickstarter. In this one, they come across a Chinese soldier who is still operating his mech, which is a war machine. And the soldier doesn't realize the war's been over for 12 years, and he's still, you know, stomping around, blowing up car dealerships and things. Well, we wrote a theme song for it that uses these kind of ancient Chinese melodies, and it uses flutes and like a harp and stuff. We make the song so that they corroborate with the elements of the story that was written.
Sweet.
Yeah, sounds nice. Sounds really good.
I'm sold.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate your support a lot. And like I say, a couple of you I know in here, and I'm familiar with your work. And it's, in fact, JD and I think we even share an artist. Cover 2 here is by Mr. Mannix Francisco.
Emmanuel.
That is it's that one right there.
Yeah.
And this is the scene that you're seeing there is they're just getting ready to enter it's what it is. It's the Labyrinth of the Minotaur. And they're looking, and it's just piled up high with these skulls of these dead soldiers, which have been trying to pass this barrier. And they're the first 2 to get through.
Yeah. David Dion did a short story for my book too.
Oh, which was your short story?
For the Sword and the Sorcerer.
Oh, I remember this, man. I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hell of a good guy. I'm real happy with him.
Yeah, no,
he did our number 2 also. So this is my second time with David. He did number 2 and number 4.
Yeah. And Cardo Selli did a short story also for my book. And in a cover.
Nice. Yeah. Well, like I say, I'm really grateful. I've been fortunate to work with some of the people that I've worked with. I'm not 100% sure how I talked them into working with me, but you know, it's funny. Each time it sort of has improved a little bit. And I think it was JD mentioned about the editing, and it's funny as you look through, you can sort of see the work and improving as it goes. And the stories can be all Dojo Kun. Oh yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you. That's the other thing that I'm trying to do, as we mentioned, is to appear on various podcasts and things, and to try and promote these products in a way that has some kind of meaningful engagement with viewers, which I notice is something kind of cool about this show. I even learned a little bit from you guys. You notice I was kind of pinning Jay down about some of the convention details because I'm sort of new at that part, you understand. I've only done 3 conventions. The first issue, to give you an idea, I just made it. I didn't use Kickstarter. I wasn't knowledgeable about that then. And that was 2019. And in those days, you'd take it to the convention and you just start giving it out and trying to get people to get interested in it. And that was I'd written a couple other books as well back in the past, but this was the one where people started to say things like, whoa, this is pretty good. And it was very well received. And of course, that one got picked up by Antarctic 2 last year. And then nobody told me to stop, so I kept going. And the thing about Water Wars is they are in sequential order, but you must read them backwards. It goes 4, 3, 2, 1, if you know what I'm saying. So each new issue that comes out, it tells you this. Each new issue is a prequel.
Gosh, very nice. So I mean, you got 19 more days. You're I think about a little bit more than halfway there. You're gonna make it. So I mean, yeah, the book looks awesome. But yeah, but talk to Dojo. He's awesome.
I will. I'll get the information here at the end of the show, and we'll reach out. I do like to. I'm grateful for the podcasters and the work that they do as well, because, as you know, the thing about indie comics, for me, again, your mileage may vary, but it's hard to reach the audience, right? And you know, there's a lot of us fall into the trap, or I should say, myself, I fall into this trap, which is we end up getting in these groups and we sort of spam the groups with our links, right? We call that the link graveyard. And it's difficult to create meaningful engagement. And at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is get readers. Lots of people have these terrific Kickstarters and lots of followers and things. But at the end of the day, I'm a writer, and I want people to say, oh, this is a carefully crafted tale that I can enjoy and really get behind. So I do a lot of extra things for my returning backers, and I even for the digital folks too. That's one of the reasons why we focus on the music, is it is a product which can be delivered with relative ease to our digital backers. And the response to that has been pretty good too.
Oh, that's good. It's really awesome. Nice. I mean,
thanks, man. Thanks so much for having me, JD. Seriously.
It's all about, listen, I mean, this show and the way I try to frame it is like to give everybody a platform to hopefully promote and push their books. And I mean, and I have pretty much an open door policy. You have to really be a horrible person not to get the damn show. I mean, well, I got Jay on, right?
He seems okay to me.
No, Jay's awesome, man. He's incredible. Trust me. We wouldn't be here if he wasn't. All right, on to the next campaign. Steve, you're up.
The Legend of Calamity Jane.
Yes.
It goes like this. In 1997, the Kids WB broadcast a new cartoon that they thought was going to be the next Batman animated series called The Legend of Calamity Jane, which was a very stylized take on the real-life Martha Jane Canary. And it only lasted 3 episodes before they canceled the show. And it's probably because it was a French production that found ways to perhaps criticize American audiences. And it was a little hard-edged for a Saturday morning cartoon. The first 30 seconds involve a lynch mob hanging a Native American whom Jane comes and saves. So it starts out like that. There was a lot of gunplay in the 3 episodes, and it faded into obscurity. But over the past 25 years, people have found the series online with really bad rips on YouTube and such. So recently, a company called Pico Interactive that does video games normally bought the rights to Calamity Jane, and their Kickstarter is to release it looking very pristine, ripped from the masters, as a DVD collection. My involvement is a comic book that's attached to it called The Devil Herself, which picks up the threads of the series, but in the present day with Calamity Jane still alive, and we hint at how she may still be doing that. But the episodes look really good. I've seen the masters. The transfers should be awesome. The comic book is written by me and drawn by my frequent collaborator, Elizu Gavaya, who has worked with me on my Lorelei comics and my Pandora's Wyback comics. And he completely nailed the look of the series, which was hard because it has such a specific look to it. And it's outside his normal range, but he completely nailed it. So the campaign is running now. It launched on October 3rd. It runs till November 2nd. It's about 60% funded at this point. The extras involve things like an autobiography of Calamity Jane. In 1896, she actually had her own autobiography published. So my crazy idea to the publisher of Pico Interactive, Eli Galindo, was, wouldn't it be crazy if you tracked down the voice actress who did Calamity Jane for the series and got her to read it? And he actually did that. He tracked her down. He got her. She actually narrates the Kickstarter video to entice you to become involved with the project. So there would be her reading the autobiography. The other stretch goals involve a possible action figure, a possible video game, and the real stretch goal is get enough money and do an actual new episode of the series.
Nice.
There's also a motion comic that would be based on the comic book. So we're hoping it'll do well. It's been doing really well right now. Fans are finding it. The word has been spreading on it. The one frustration is he hired a promotional company to send out the press release that I wrote for it. And apparently they did, and it's never been covered anywhere. Really? So the only place that people have been able to find out about it is sort of word of mouth on Twitter from people who've backed it. So it's really frustrating because it's a great project. It's for the fans of animation who really have come to love the show, and we'd really like to make it successful. So we're almost there. We've got a couple of weeks left, and we'd like to get more people involved.
Looks great, man. That looks great.
Now, was Calamity Jane, didn't she hang around with Wild Bill Hickok?
Wild Bill was in the show. Calamity Jane was voiced by an actress named Barbara Weber Scaff, who came back to do this. On the series, Wild Bill Hickok was voiced by Clancy Brown, who was Lex Luthor in Superman.
Yeah.
And her sidekick, Joe Presto, was voiced by Frank Welker, who is Megatron from Transformers and Freddy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the actors that did guest roles on the show, Mark Hamill was on one episode. This is before, well, he in the post Star Wars years. This is one of the many voices that he did. And who else am I thinking of? Luke Perry was one of the voice actors for the show. Also Robert Patrick from Terminator and Peacemaker. So they had the talent. It was really well written. It was a very adult cartoon for a Saturday morning series that was placed between Adventures of Superman and Pinky and the Brain. So since the show was that adult and had that sort of critical eye toward how Westerns were portrayed, you could almost see why the WB went, what did we pick up? Let's stop running that. But it ran around the world. It ran in syndication in other countries, and that's where the fan base really grew.
Do you want me to play the video?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
We want you to play the video.
And like I said, it's Barbara Weber Scaff who did the voice of Calamity Jane.
Comics TV proudly presents The Legend of Calamity Jane. Hi, I'm Barbara Weber Scaff, and I did the voice of Calamity Jane. The gunslinging femme fatale from Deadwood returns to the saddle, ready to fill with lead all the evildoers who dare to interrupt her midday whiskey. Calamity Jane is back, which was one of the most sought-after animations by hardcore fans of the medium, not only because of its rarity, but also its exceptional quality. It tells the story of the legendary real-life gunslinger Martha Jane Canary, and was brought to screens around the world by Contralé in collaboration with Warner Brothers TV Animation. It presented a stylized version of the life and times of the female outlaw, with tons of action and mature plots, and caught the attention of Western film fans and animation fans alike. After 25 years in captivity, the most feared cowgirl ever is out of the jailhouse and ready to climb back into the saddle with a box set of DVDs. Initially, it was rumored that this material had been labeled as lost media or was limited to poor online video captures. Now these gun-toting adventures can be preserved digitally. The Legend of Calamity Jane DVD box set will include all the episodes of the first season, but that's not all. By reaching higher goals, we will be able to include a brand new chapter in a new fully colored comic book called The Devil Herself, set in current times. Join us to discover how it's possible that Jane came to modern times and what her new mission might be in this brand new world. With your help, Jane's story can expand to new formats. Our first goal is to expand the story of Calamity Jane with a comic book included with the DVD. But stretch goals can be even better, like Give it a new treatment with a fully voiced motion comic or a brand new video game. And why not a portable handheld version of it as well? How about an action figure for all those collectors out there? And our most ambitious stretch goal is to develop a full-on, guns blazing animated episode. This is an incredible opportunity for all those who could not see all the chapters in their original distribution, or those who managed to see them and want to relive the adventures of the most feared female outlaw in history. With your help, Jane's legacy can be relived, and new stories can be enjoyed by future generations.
So there you go.
Nice video. Well done.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, that was done by Eli and his folks, and he's good at his job. He's done a lot of Kickstarters for the video games, and he's 100% behind this whole project and really wants to get it done. When he approached me for it, I had actually never heard of the cartoon. I wasn't watching Saturday morning cartoons in '97, but he sent me all the episodes and I watched them twice so I could take notes and figure out what to do. And by the time I was done, I was completely in love with the series. So it was great that he really wants to do this, that he could get Barbara involved in the project. And hopefully the fans will be happy with how it turns out.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Right. It looks really cool. I like the thick black inks, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It has such an unusual look. I mean, the way I described Jane to Elizu was you basically have a female lead whose head is nothing but triangles because that's her design. And she's the only character in the series who looks like that, and there's no explanation for why she has a head like that or white skin or anything like that, and it's just accepted. And the character is actually pretty in-depth for an animated series. It's just that American fans never really got to see the progression of the series and see how it turned out. So now they have a chance to do it in better visibility.
Very nice. Very nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Steve did the comic. If anything, just back the comic. That's what I did.
Any plans to be more than one issue?
That depends on how well this campaign is. I have an idea for a second one. The comic is a one-off, so it's a complete story. It'll be a 28-page comic. So it's a one-off. It picks up threads from the old series and sets up the potential for further adventures. So that was the mandate I was given. So that's how I worked it.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, should we just move on at this point?
Now we're done.
Now we're done. Look at
my continue.
Wait, it's one of those movie comics. I thought we were sick of those now.
I want to continue the night's theme of pasty white women with scarves
That's
around
right.
their neck.
Hey, talking about ripping off IPs, man. Hey, let's go here. Huh?
I know. So this is the Dead Princess Vicky Sticks. This is the first time that I am diving into the supernatural arena. Most of the books I've produced have been either superhero books or zombie books. And this takes place within the Unstoppable Comics universe. And Vicky Sticks is the, she's the one that protects the creatures that go bump in the night, or at least avenges them if something else goes wrong. And right here, we're bringing out, we got 4 different covers by different people that I've worked with or interior artists who are part of the project. We got a little chibi cover because you always need something nice, cutesy for the ladies out there,
Yeah, it's cool.
So you could get packages with either one single cover or all 4 covers. We've also, at the end of this, we ended up adding a blank sketch cover for anybody who wants to go to conventions to get that lit up. we're here to break down of who she is, why I'm doing this, why it's a supernatural book, where the money's going, the usual Kickstarter stuff. Then we got some of her preview pages. She is a femme fatale, anti-hero, bad girl. She hangs out in a bar with other monsters, and shit goes down over there. So here we see you got a wolfman, you've got some vampires, you got Hansel from Hansel and Gretel, trying to throw some of that grim fairy tale stuff in there. Just a couple of quick preview pages. Then if you go down, here's some of the shirts that we've also got involved in the project. Some of the other shirts that are involved in the greater Unstoppable Comics world. And then you've got some of the other books that we've created that you can put in there as add-ons. These section right here, these are all trades. These are trades. Further down, I've got the single issues that we still have available. This is our creative team. Yeah, these are the single issues that we still have in print. And trading cards. I love doing trading cards. That's one of the things that is ever expanding with us. We hit them for stretch goals. So for every goal that gets hit, that's a new trading card added to everybody's rewards at no extra charge.
Nice.
If you get them.
That's if you get them. Yes, you will never get your stuff. The more you bring it up, the less I'm going to bring you your stuff. Their stuff sent to them. But Calderon.
This is what I get for hosting them on the show. See, this is democratic.
When we break down the name Vicky Sticks, it comes from 3 different places. Vicky comes from Victor Frankenstein. She is of that undead, but she is not someone who was piecemealed from other parts. Sticks from the River Styx. And then Timothy, you were mentioning heavy metal before. I'm sorry, but hair bands. Nikki Six. I just love the way that rang from Poison, and that's definitely why I put that together in her name.
You're speaking my language, brother.
We still got 17 days to go on the campaign. This is a 24-page full color book with the ability to expand to a 32-page book of if stretch goals are hit, and those extra pages would be kind of like the character guide entries that I showed you guys before. So you get to know a little bit more backstory and some of the other characters that appear in the book, not just a few panels.
Very nice.
Very nice.
It's really nice.
That looks really good.
Thank you. And one of the things we've been doing since the launch of the campaign is working our overstock, right? So every week so far we have been going on live stream and have been adding bonuses to certain backers of the campaign. So far we've given away 9 bonuses, which have been chromium covers, shot glasses, pins that Calderon will never get. Shirts. So I want to have fun with doing comic books. Before I went off on a tirade, and it's not I'm not that grumpy, get off my lawn type of guy. I want to have fun doing this and just getting people involved and engaged by giving them something extra. Helping them stretch their bucks a couple more. Then let's have fun doing that.
What about international backers?
We do international. There's a bit of a higher charge for international, but not by much.
Okay.
I use stamps.com. So they do drop shipping, kind of like Pirate Ship does. But I like using stamps.com also because recently they announced their new deal with UPS, and you get a 72% discount for anybody who's shipping through stamps.com using UPS.
Yeah, and for us, I know Daphne, she was telling me how you have to compare them because you have to compare stamps.com versus the United States Postal Service, because then you can see which one will give you the best rate, because sometimes internationally for us it's really expensive, but she's gotten some really good rates for the UPS to ship over.
Dude, on the last campaign, I was the shipping to England and Japan was the same price. It was still an extra $22 shipping to this, and we're talking about 2 totally thousands of miles in between them, you know. So I was like, okay, I can rock with that, you know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, just compare. Make sure you compare your prices.
But you
Um,
said UPS and stamps.com. Did you mean pirate ship and stamps.com?
no, no UPS.
Well, see, that's the thing. Stamps.com,
No, I'm sorry, the USPS,
right?
and stamps.com.
Dude, stamps.com will tell you if you select the UPS tab or the USPS tab, right? They'll tell you whether the competitor is cheaper.
Really?
So I like that, dude. I really like that. You know, there were certain books, certain things I was sending that on my last campaign was like maybe $13, and through, it said, oh, try the UPS, and it was like 9 and change. Shit, $2 adds up, $3 adds up after 10 or 20 packages.
Definitely. Now, gentlemen, we're close. We got time for one more question. So, JC, either one of you got something?
No.
You guys, terrible. Terrible. Anyway,
I have a question for you.
go ahead, go. Peter.
What's your thoughts on people charging for signatures at conventions?
All right, I think I forgot the name of the editor. I was sitting next to an editor, and he was one of these old school editors, right? From like the 80s at Marvel, right? And somebody had asked him, they said, how much do you charge? He says, well, listen, the first 3 are for free. Everything after that, I think it was either like $2 or $5 each, right? And I thought that was very reasonable.
I agree with that.
I thought that was very reasonable. So yeah. So
you got other people waiting online. You know what I mean? You don't want to take up an hour of somebody's time when other people are like, "What the fuck?" You don't want to see those.
Well, and
people
they're a lot of them are speculators too, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but these guys turn around and they flip the books. I'm not against that. I'm just saying it does interrupt some of the fans.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, there were those reports from New York Comic Con about the Peach Momoko line that almost turned into a brawl. And those
because she was doing it for free, wasn't she?
That's probably why.
Yeah, and it was retailers putting their people at the front of the line and trying to cut ahead.
Oh yeah.
And it freaked her out, and she had to cancel her signing.
Golly, that's a shame.
Ozzy, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, you got to capitalize on your fame. There's nothing wrong with that. So, sell your signature.
Did you ever hear the Neil Adams Larry Hama story?
No.
Larry was signing for free, and he was next to Neil. Neil wasn't signing for free. I'm sure everybody knows that. Neil kept telling Larry over and over again, "You need to put up a price. You need to put up a price." Now Larry wasn't getting much traffic. Larry went off to the bathroom. This is from Larry Hama now. Went off to the bathroom. Neil sent somebody to get one of the plastic covers or whatever it was, put the sign, filled out a piece of paper, signatures, $20, so on, put it in there, put a sign on Larry's table. When Larry came back from the bathroom, he had a line around the corner. It's amazing to think if people are going to buy something, they're going to feel like it's worth it. I guess is what the lesson to that is.
Yeah.
So it depends. I wouldn't do it necessarily because I'm nobody, but if you're somebody like Larry Hama or Neil Adams, I kind of understand that because your time does become money. It's still a business.
Well, I just read an interview with Don Perlin, the artist of Werewolf by Night and ghostwriter for Marvel, and he said he did a convention once and he's signing books, and he said this teenager, he saw him out of the corner of his eye, he runs over to some dealer and he buys a comic, and he runs over and he takes it out of the bag and he puts it down, and he said, "Oh, please sign it," and he does, and he goes, "Now what's it worth?" and Perlin said, I looked up at him and said, "You just bought a comic, you ran over, took it out, had some old man scroll his name on it. What do you think it's worth?"
Yeah.
And he said the kid looked like he'd been punched.
Yeah. Daphne went to the School of Visual Arts, and one of her teachers was Will Eisner. And he told a story about this. And he's like, he had gone to a convention. There was some little kid there. He asked him to do, I guess, like he drew a small picture for the kid, and he gave it to him, and he signed it and everything. And he said, he's leaving the show, and there's the kid on the steps of the convention holding it up with a bunch of people, and he's doing an auction on the damn piece.
Oh shit!
And he said after that, he's like, that's it. He would rarely sign for any, like his students. He would say, if you want something signed, you bring me one thing, and I'll sign it for you. And that's the one thing I remember Daphne telling me. He would sign one thing for them, and that was it. And it was because of that situation. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like crazy. I was just.
Well, it's kind of like the. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just at Royal Collectibles today, right? Jay, remember how I was telling you there's one out here in Broadway?
Yeah, Astoria, right?
Right. Only for another week and a half. They're shutting down. Yeah, but they had a sale. $5 on all the graphic novels, $10 on all their hardcovers. Bro, I nearly broke my arm. I bought so much stuff.
Shit. I'm gonna stop by this week. Fuck it.
Yeah, but the guy was there's a guy holding a show next weekend, and he's like yeah, he says we do pops, and they do like special pops, and he says sometimes he says the dealers get into fist fights over this stuff, just because they're trying to flip the stuff, and it's just ridiculous when it gets down to that. I mean, they're toys. I mean, what are you flipping this stuff for? You're gonna make an extra $30. You're gonna get into a fist fight with somebody over it? It's crazy.
I don't know. Tony the Tiger is a $400 pop.
All right, $400 pop, $500 hospital bill. I mean, $1,000 hospital bill.
Yes. The net afterwards is just not worth it. I get you.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. All right. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say it, but not. That's almost like doing the art prints of different IP characters you don't own or you've never done too. If somebody's making money off of something you've done and you're getting nothing out of it, and so you have to ask, where's the trade-off here? If you don't have a problem with signing it and they're going to go and sell it, that's fine. But should you have a problem with them taking your IP and making prints off of it and making money and not giving it to you either?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. That's. I mean, that might be apples and oranges. I just thought about it right now, but
I think it depends on where you're at in the world. I mean, there's some artists who just are always struggling, right? We know these people that no matter what they do, they're always struggling, right? So yeah, sell the signature, make some money. Mike Mignola, he said he doesn't charge. The guy has money, right? He could do like some random image and sell it for $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever it is. So he doesn't have those same concerns as other people, as other creators, And then some dudes are just always struggling. So I mean, I understand it. I get it.
Rob Liefeld just posted his a list of the people who charges in New York, and he was the highest paid per signature. And wow. I mean, a lot of people complain that he's not a good artist and whatever, but it's not about being a good artist. It's all about having fame.
Yeah.
And
so it sells, right?
Yeah. I have no problem. You can charge. I'm never gonna get one of his signatures, but
does he charge? Yeah. What does he charge?
I think he didn't post it anything, but the highest one, it was $50. I think it was, but he said I'm the highest, so he probably 60 or something.
Yeah, because I remember there was a few years ago. I don't know. I saw it posted somewhere. It might have been in an interview where he had said he doesn't charge for signatures unless it's it was only what was the first appearance of Deadpool, New Mutants '89 or something.
He charges per book,
right.
Book.
He knows you're gonna flip it. That book is worth $700, but a signature is worth $1,500. So he charges for that book. So I thought that was interesting. But I don't know if he charged for any others.
I remember seeing something a long time ago, but because the way he does it too, he has signatures, and then he also has a little sketch of Deadpool, cost you a little extra or something like that. But I don't remember it being really, really outlandish or anything. But
I couldn't tell you. Anyway, gentlemen, we made it to the end of the show. Thank you guys. You guys are all awesome. Thank you all for being here. You guys are great. So let's start with Mr. Timothy. Tim, please let us know where they can find you and your work, sir.
The easiest way to find me is on Facebook lately. That's Timothy B. Fling. Or if you're so inclined, I'm on Twitter also at TFlizzy.
All right, cool. Nice. Ozzy?
You can find me on Facebook. Well, all the social networks. I was supposed to get a Kickstarter going for my issue 2 of The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Mhm.
This is the number 1, covered by Simon Beasley.
Yeah.
We have a lot
Nice.
of. The second cover is for with Stefano Cardoselli,
Nice.
and it's gonna be. I sent them all to print already. All actually five books. Hopefully by the end of the month, I'll get all the 10 books printed and send it to all the backers. And you can find me. I already said that actually. And the social networks, Google my name or Gemini Comics, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, when you do the Kickstarter, Ozzy, we'll bring it back and then you can.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't have it ready. I'm sorry.
Listen, it's okay.
I just had a baby actually, and
Yeah, congratulations.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
thank you. I'm so sleep deprived that it's insane. Like
That's not going to change.
Yeah. Mr. Michael over there has 4. So, you know. So,
Yeah.
left in years.
God damn. Do you
Yeah,
stop?
Yeah.
He had the 1, but there are 3 variants.
There,
There you go.
there you go.
That's awesome.
Peter, where can they find you or your work, sir?
Peter Breau. You can follow me, Peter Breau, on Twitter, Peter Breau on Facebook. Breau's not a very common name, so there's not very many of us. So when you type it in, it's probably going to find me. I'm going to also be appearing at the Big Country Comic Expo, 100 miles away from here in the end of November. And I'll get back to you about the Zoop campaign. Sorry I didn't have anything to show. It isn't live yet.
All right, cool. Steve, where can they find you and your work, sir?
StarWarpConcepts.com for the publishing company, and for the next 2 weeks, that Calamity Jane Kickstarter.
Nice.
All right, cool. Mr. Lanning?
Of course, you can find me at Linktree at /C Michael Landing, right here. There you go. And every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, it throws you off so bad. 8 p.m. Eastern, dispatches from outside the box on the Indy Comics Network. Oh, and Saturdays at Sketchy Saturday at early in the morning. That's 10 a.m. Eastern, but for me it's 9, so it's early.
That's one of the 9 shows you do weekly.
That still feels like it. Golly.
Nice.
Nice. All right, Mr. Rosario, where can they find you, sir?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all our social media links when you go to the Unstoppable.com, UnstableComics.com website. And other than that, you can check out the Dead Princess Vicky Sticks, #1 right now on Kickstarter. And if you are in New York City next Sunday, you can find me at the Oktoberfest on 151st and Riverside Drive. Sunday from 3 to 6, doing comics, hosting a nice Q&A. I may live stream it.
Selling shot glasses.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm getting paid to speak at this event, so I don't gotta sell nothing, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, it's a paid appearance, so I'm very excited. So if I can live stream it, I'll set it up.
All right, cool. Well, you can find me on DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all under JD Calderon, theoswaldchronicles.com, 12talesonline.com. And you can find me here just about every Sunday talking to fine gentlemen just like this. And sometimes ladies. Sometimes ladies.
Sometimes.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good night. And listen, I'll be seeing you all soon. And just remember, buy Indy Comics. All right? theirs and mine. Thank you.
Thanks, JD.
Take it easy, guys.
All right.